In the ever-evolving landscape of the NFL, teams are constantly on the hunt for players who can provide that extra edge. The Pittsburgh Steelers find themselves at a crossroads, pondering whether to enhance their receiving core with a player who embodies both promise and uncertainty. While the Steelers' wide receivers coach, Zach Azzanni, has confidently declared Calvin Austin III as the team's number 2 receiver, the allure of adding another dynamic playmaker remains strong. Enter Christian Watson, a wide receiver with the Green Bay Packers, whose potential has been both tantalizing and elusive. Known for his remarkable athleticism, Watson has been described as perhaps the most gifted receiver in Green Bay's lineup. Yet, his career has been marred by a series of injuries, making him a quintessential boom or bust candidate. This duality in his performance history raises a compelling question for the Steelers: is the potential reward worth the risk? One of the intriguing aspects of Watson's profile is his previous collaboration with quarterback Aaron Rodgers. This connection could be pivotal for the Steelers, as a player familiar with Rodgers' style might seamlessly integrate into Pittsburgh's offensive strategies. The prospect of rekindling this partnership could be a strategic advantage, offering the Steelers a unique opportunity to leverage Watson's past experiences. Despite Watson's undeniable talent, his injury history cannot be overlooked. The Packers' decision to invest in new wide receivers during the recent draft underscores the uncertainty surrounding Watson's long-term reliability. With rookies Matthew Golden and Savion Williams poised to make an impact, the Packers might consider parting ways with Watson, especially as he recovers from an ACL tear. For the Steelers, this presents a tantalizing dilemma. Acquiring Watson could inject a fresh burst of energy into their offense, yet it also carries the inherent risk of his inconsistent availability. Balancing these factors will be crucial as Pittsburgh weighs their options. As the Steelers deliberate on their next move, the potential acquisition of Christian Watson stands as a testament to the complexities of team building in the NFL. This decision could shape the trajectory of their season, offering either a significant boost or another layer of challenges to overcome. Ultimately, the choice to pursue Watson will reflect the Steelers' appetite for risk and their vision for the future of their receiving core. The Steelers' offensive vision heading into the 2025 season is centered around maximizing the strengths of their newly constructed quarterback room. With Aaron Rodgers now at the helm, Pittsburgh has placed itself in the rare position of having an experienced, Super Bowl-winning quarterback capable of elevating the offense in ways it hasn't seen since the peak of Ben Roethlisberger's career. The team is understandably focused on surrounding Rodgers with the kind of skill position players who can complement his skill set, sustain drives, and stretch the field. Currently, the Steelers' depth chart at wide receiver includes DK Metcalf, who was acquired in a blockbuster deal earlier this offseason, along with promising young wideouts like Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin III. Veteran Robert Woods offers experience and versatility, but it's evident that the front office and coaching staff still believe one more high-level playmaker could be the missing ingredient. Christian Watson represents a player who, if healthy, could fill that role and then some. His combination of height, speed, and leaping ability gives him the profile of a number 1 wideout, even if he hasn't consistently played like one. When on the field, Watson has demonstrated the ability to make explosive plays downfield, take the top off defenses, and win contested catches. He is a player who demands attention from opposing defensive coordinators. However, those flashes of brilliance have been tempered by long absences due to injury. Watson's battle with hamstring strains, knee issues, and most recently an ACL injury has limited his availability and raised questions about his durability. For a Steelers team with championship aspirations, the calculation becomes whether his upside outweighs the potential cost of a roster spot that may or may not yield consistent production. Another wrinkle to this story is the Steelers' recent attempts to acquire top-tier pass catchers from the NFC South. Trade inquiries into players like Chris Olave and Chris Godwin were reportedly turned down, demonstrating that Pittsburgh has been aggressive in their pursuit. Their interest in Watson might not just be about raw talent but also about strategic fit, cost, and timeline. Olave and Godwin would likely require significant draft capital to acquire, while Watson, due to his injuries and competition from younger players in Green Bay, might be more attainable. Reports also suggest that the Steelers have placed calls regarding Atlanta Falcons tight ends Kyle Pitts and Jonnu Smith. These conversations further emphasize the team's desire to add explosive weapons, regardless of position. Adding Pitts would provide a dynamic tight end presence rarely seen in Pittsburgh since the days of Heath Miller, while Smith would offer a versatile option who excels in both blocking and short yardage receiving. What this all points to is a front office that is aware of the opportunity before them and unwilling to sit idly by. The Steelers' defense remains elite, led by T.J. Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and Cam Hayward. Their offensive line has been reinforced through the draft and free agency. Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren form a powerful backfield tandem. The only glaring question remaining is whether the pass-catching group has enough firepower to compete with the AFC's elite offenses. Aaron Rodgers may no longer be at the peak of his powers, but he remains a cerebral and effective quarterback capable of exploiting mismatches and elevating his receivers. The potential reunion with Watson could serve as a comfort zone for Rodgers, allowing him to build instant chemistry with at least one member of the receiving corps while younger players get up to speed. For Christian Watson, a move to Pittsburgh could represent a fresh start in a system tailored to his skill set, under the guidance of a quarterback he already understands. The change of scenery, a new medical and training staff, and a coaching staff eager to tap into his potential might be the exact combination needed to unlock his best football. Financially, the move is feasible. Watson is still on his rookie contract, which means the Steelers wouldn't be overcommitting resources to acquire him. Should things not work out, the financial hit would be minimal, giving Pittsburgh flexibility to pivot as needed. Moreover, the Steelers have shown in the past they are not afraid to take chances on talented players coming off injuries or down seasons. From trading for Minkah Fitzpatrick when his situation in Miami was unsettled, to signing veteran pass rushers coming off surgeries, the team has historically been willing to gamble when the potential payoff is high enough. If the Steelers do move forward with Christian Watson, the impact could be felt in multiple areas. Defenses would have to account for Metcalf and Watson on the outside, stretching coverages and opening up space underneath for players like Pat Freiermuth and Harris. Rodgers would have a vertical threat tandem capable of changing games with a single play, while also having the familiarity and trust in Watson that could be key in late-game situations. Alternatively, the Steelers could adopt a wait-and-see approach. Training camp cuts, surprise trades, or even preseason injuries across the league could create new opportunities to acquire a high-caliber pass catcher. Players like Terry McLaurin could potentially become available, especially if contract negotiations with their current team sour. The NFL season is long, and rosters often look significantly different in November than they do in July. However, standing pat could also send the wrong message. A roster with this much potential, and a quarterback like Rodgers with a limited window left, calls for bold action. The AFC is loaded with offensive firepower, and while Pittsburgh has made significant strides, it's difficult to envision them winning a shootout with teams like the Chiefs, Bengals, or Dolphins without adding at least one more elite weapon. In the end, this decision will say a great deal about how seriously the Steelers are taking their Super Bowl ambitions. Are they satisfied with being competitive, possibly sneaking into the playoffs and hoping for the best? Or are they willing to push the envelope, take calculated risks, and truly chase that 7th Lombardi trophy? Christian Watson may or may not be the final piece of the puzzle. But the willingness to explore such options, and the recognition of their needs, shows a front office that is engaged and aggressive. Whether Watson becomes a Steeler or not, fans should expect more moves on the horizon. The commitment to building a contender is clear, and Pittsburgh appears ready to do whatever it takes to give Rodgers the supporting cast he needs. With all eyes on them, the next few weeks could prove pivotal. Will Watson be the next name added to the black and gold? Or will another surprise name enter the conversation? One thing is certain, the Steelers are not done yet.